Tales from the Far Territory. The first expansion pack from the Long Dark is coming. Merry Christmas, everybody. We're getting new regions, items, gameplay. It's a glorious day. Let's take a few and talk about what Hinterland has got under the tree. Now, I've played enough Long Dark to know that what most people look forward to with any sort of new drop is a new map, and I certainly am no stranger to that. It's my money that the first map that'll be dropped, likely with the December 5th, will be the Far Range branch line. Noted on this, especially on the Hinterland's website, is that in the brackets this is labeled as the hub. That is my little tip that this is likely going to be the central map that all future Far Territory maps branch off of, sort of like Mystery Lake was for Great Bear in general. Additionally, reading through the material on Hinterland's website is that this map connects to Broken Railroad. So if we had any questions whether the Far Territories would actually be connectable to the Greater Bear Island, yes, absolutely it looks like. So that means that once you get done with one, you can go over, and it looks like this will be something that you can actually, if you can walk the distance, walk back and forth, and it becomes an additional map expansion. I'm looking very forward to that. There's also some other updates that we'll get into later in this video that I think are going to make the Transfer Pass hub a very popular destination. The next map with the most information I've been able to find then is the Forsaken Airfield, which is a vast open plains remote airfield. Now, this will have a control tower as well as a ranger's cabin, but it's being marketed as one of the harshest, coldest regions yet. Especially when you pair that up with the open plains, I really get the feeling this is going to have weather to either give Pleasant Valley a run for the money or make it even worse. And I really remember that Pleasant Valley has been the map that through my crusade, that wind chill and storm really gave me a run for the money. It was a very challenging map. And if they're trying to one-up themselves with that, be careful with Forsaken Airfield. Make sure you've got warm clothes and plenty of teas when you're heading to that outlet. Also coming out are two more regions. Mountain Pass being noted for some of the rockiest terrain on Great Bear Island. And especially when you compare that to places like Hush River Valley, Ash Canyon, Timberwolf, they're trying to make it even worse. Do yourself a favor, go over to Ash Canyon, get the technical pack and get the crampons before you start tackling Mountain Pass, which, by the way, you can craft crude crampons now, so there is a gear upgrade with this too. But I do believe that's a lower grade crafted item that you can reach easier. If you want the quality items, you'll still probably have to go to Ash Canyon. Then next region to take a look at would also be the Industrial Mine. That is an open pit mine that has a lot of mining equipment, and it's being noted as pools of toxic chemicals and runoff. So we're going to have a nice little toxic waste pit that we have to worry about now in the quiet apocalypse. I don't know. One thing I do suspect, though, because footage of these two regions, I can only see like one still of Mountain Pass and just a brief less than 3-second clip of the Industrial Mine. I'm willing to bet that these two maps are not going to be released with the December 5 drop. That'll probably be later in 2023. And I've got no hate on Hinterland for that, okay? Let's be honest. This is all a game that we've been playing, most of us, for several years. They're finally giving a major expansion. They need a little revenue to keep giving you some great quality. I'm willing to work with this. So I'm looking forward to this, but let's move on to more of what we're getting for Christmas. Let's move on to some of the more gameplay changes that we're going to be able to enjoy now. The first one, and one of the more interesting, is Glimmer Fog, a mysterious phenomenon that changes the air and ground with electrostatic energy. I get that this is going to be a more physical manifestation of the aurora effect. They're saying animate electronics in unpredictable ways. The aurora is literally charging stuff that's not even plugged in. So are we going to start seeing equipment operate in a moving fashion and stuff? I have a bad feeling that electrostatic on ice is going to be something akin to stepping on the wrong wire in Carter Dam. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but especially with certain footage, I get that feeling. Next feature that, especially after just completing a Halloween special through Darkwalker 2022, the insomnia feature. That really feels like the anxiety effect, that exposure to certain influences may introduce new risks for you to manage and do your best case to avoid. Especially as a D&D player, this also feels like kind of messing with status effects and working with your psyche. I could really see this giving you the inability to sleep, which is like the definition of insomnia. But I get a feeling if they're putting this in, they're going to balance this out with something else I'll talk to you in a few minutes about. One of the most popular things, though, that I've seen talked about since this update has dropped out is Safe House customization, in which features and items you can organize, optimize, decorate your interiors. If we can actually pick up those plastic totes and move those around, Hinterland, I would love you. I've been wanting to just move storage around for like forever. I swear, if sometime in the year of 2023 you can give us the ability to move a filing cabinet outside to actually store and secure my meat outside, that would be great. Or let me even build a smoker. All of these things would be fantastic. But speaking of that, what I am looking forward to most, what I can almost guarantee you're going to see a future video about, is enhanced cooking. Recipes, new ingredients, new possibilities for food that can offer different gameplay effects. If they're introducing insomnia, I'll absolutely guarantee that if the birch bark tea doesn't help give you a better sleep, there will be some cooking recipe to balance that off. I'm almost certain that a lot of these effects, a lot of these statuses we have regarding thirst, calories, temperature, all of these things I think are going to be addressed with the enhanced cooking menu. I get a feeling this is going to be like almost an arc where with different ingredients you could get different boosts. And I'm going to go ahead and make a further prediction that that cooking pot is going to get a user interface upgrade. That's going to be the item that you can do the cooking in. So where a lot of us have lived off of 2 tin cans for forever and a day, the enhanced cooking, I think, is going to be motivation to actually get one of those cast iron cook pots. But what I couldn't believe when I heard this next one, that there's actually going to be a trader, a source of goods and useful information for a price. I am really willing to bet that this trader is going to be based in the hub. And I really get a vibe that this is going to be almost like 7 Days to Die barter and stuff. Money means nothing here. The apocalypse is here. The quiet apocalypse, the EMP took out all the money. I get it. It's all going to be barter and trade. And it's going to be ammunition. And what I'm really hoping is effective here is furs. Obviously, rabbits would be cheap. Deer would be better. Bear would be better. And then moose would be better. And I don't know which would be better, moose or bear. I'm willing to bet bear would be best for the sheer fact that bear can kill you more aggressively. But who hasn't gotten ridgecraft hunting moose either? But wolves, I think, would probably be medium fare. But that would be what a lot of us have. I'm really hoping that fur trading is involved with the trader, because I think that would make a lot of sense. And it would also give me a lot of reminiscence to a little known but still great game to play called Neo Scavenger. And just for reference, if any of you have ever heard of or played Neo Scavenger, drop a comment down below, because I would love us to get together. And if there's enough of us, I might even play a nostalgia round on the channel. But that's some of the two big things that I guarantee, once I get a figure how it's actually going to handle, you're going to see future videos about that, about enhanced cooking and trading. So if that is wetting your mouth like it is mine, and you want to get some tips on that, go ahead and drop a subscribe onto the channel, because this is what I'm here for. Now let's move on to items. New stuff. What's the loot? With the animals we're going to be looking at here, and start with the logical process of doe, a deer, a female deer, and that's where my singing career ends. But we've been hunting bucks for years. Finally, they're going to have a female doe out here. Whether there's going to be a weight difference or anything, I don't know. We've never been able to get antlers from bucks to begin with, but it'd be interesting if we could actually collect the antlers from bucks, but not from does. I'm mildly curious, but regardless, I'm happy to have the variety. There's also going to be a new animal involved with a cougar. On the predator side of things, this is going to be something that I think is going to be more popular in the mountain territories, as it's cited as living in rocky crags and ravines, and going to be your greatest nemesis yet. I have a friend who thinks that this is going to be something that will actively hunt you. And I get a feeling it's going to be very scent oriented, even more so than wolves. So this would be something that maybe consider not carrying raw meat around. And then I'm going to slaughter the pronunciation here, but we're going to have a ptarmigan. A small winter bird gathers in flocks. I think we're finally going to have an opportunity to actually shoot birds. Now, I think all three of these creatures will wind up tasty on a fire. This one is specifically cited as a source of food and feathers, as feathers will be a useful crafting material. Well, we all know that feathers are going to be something that we use for arrows, but I get a feeling that this expansion may be looking into some crafting expansion as well. And that is something that I have really wanted for a while and am vastly looking forward to. Additionally then, let's talk about food. Now, this also will roll out burdock, which is another source of medicinal properties. That's great. Like I was saying, I really think that the cooking menu is going to get interactive with some of your other status effects. So I think it's going to be mix and match various ingredients to get various medicines. And I really like that dynamic. But Commander Tom's favorite food upgrade here is acorns, which when dried and ground into a powder, they make coffee. There is a natural forageable coffee. Commander Tom does not have to lose his coffee during the apocalypse. Yes. Also, it can be used as flour, so you'll be able to start making flapjacks and breads and that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. But quite frankly, I'm going, ooh, hang on here. Hang on. Did Hinterland just invent coffee bread? Hinterland, I love you. Oh, mwah! French kiss of perfection there. I'm telling you, man. Moving on to more of the crafting ideas. What I'm really liking as well is they're introducing fire hardening arrows, which is a simple arrow you can make from any fire, it looks like. So instead of having to find a workbench as well as trying to find a forge to make arrows, you can start off with this early game. And it's ideal for small game. I don't know, especially when you're talking about things on the level of cougars now, as well as moose and bear. Where do wolves fall? I first heard about this one, the handheld shortwave. I didn't think this was going to do anything because what's it going to be? Just an aurora detector? Well, when I read through this, during an aurora or when in a glimmer fog, suggesting that the two occurrences are separate. Like there's glimmer fog in places, or more importantly, during time frames, that there is no aurora. What the heck is going on that's creating glimmer fog then? It's like there's EMP being created from somewhere? Or there's electromagnetism being created from somewhere and being captured in the glimmer fog? Anyway, at first I just thought that any sort of handheld shortwave radio would essentially just be an aurora detector. Okay, great. When you're not, in the city environments, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, kind of nice, but you can kind of just look up, so I guess it's good for when you're in a cave. But then on the Hinterland website, this line of may pick up errant signals that could lead you to supply locations. This gives me the idea that there will be like radio beacons, like crash. Keep in mind, we're getting an airplane update. We're getting a airfield update. We're getting crash choppers, vehicles. Okay, we've already seen like 2 or 3 crash planes throughout the entirety of the map, and we'll probably be getting more here. Okay, I could see this as being basically a black box detector that would give you beacons to that or to other. We have already had, supply caches hidden throughout. I could see those bunkers having beacons on them as well, that this shortwave helps to find a way to. So this could be a really cool treasure hunter, essentially. So it would also be a great game and would give me a reason to get out of my base during Aurora. Usually the animals are enough of an annoyance that it's just like, I'm just going to stay in my nice, warm, cozy shelter. Thanks. I sleep through the vast majority of Auroras. You know this if you're a fan of the channel. This thing, a short wave that leads you to supply caches, this would be a fun enough angle. I would actually do that. I would treasure hunt during Aurora if you had a tool like this. So, well done, Hinterland. That's a great idea. Finally, though, I think what the crowd has been begging for years, one thing that I've absolutely just been, please, we're getting a Troy. We are actually getting a sled. Now, it's going to have the same trade-offs we always thought it would. It's going to increase your carry capacity at the cost of your speed. And that's fine. I can deal with that. I'm not asking to set a land speed record while I'm hauling stuff. I just want to be able to haul more stuff when I'm moving bases from base to base or something like that. Or this would be awesome to, you drop a bear, you go get this from your base, you go get the bear meat and bring it back to your base to cook it in comfort. All right. There are reasons why you want to be able to haul a lot of gear. Or if we're implementing all of this, you've got a stack of furs because you've been playing this game for a while. You know how to drop these animals. You want to bring those furs into the hub to trade that to the trader and purchase whatever is available through that trade. There's a lot of reasons why this might be great, okay? And I'm highly curious if this is assemble. Once you have crafted it, can you disassemble it? How much of a penalty do you lose in that? Because if the penalty is not that high, I'm telling you, go to the hub, sell everything, tear it down, take the parts back to your main base. There are exploits to be had here. I'm sure of it. I want to check it out. I'm looking so forward to this. All right, now let's finish this up by covering just a couple of details on what's going on with the software side of things. Now, talk about an upgrade here. One thing we're going to need to be aware of here is save compatibility. All right. Now, in a real quick nutshell, if any of you have played Minecraft, it's going to work similar to that, in which sometimes there's an update that your old saves don't work with the new material. That's what we've got going on here. Now, the upside is that, especially if you've worked through Steam, that you do have the time capsule ability, so that way you can still go out and keep playing the games that you're playing right now until you die. So if you want to keep going for those records, that's fine. They have noted that all of your feats progress, achievements, that'll be carried over. You're not losing any of that. Winter mute, save files, any of those achievements unlocked, those will still be fine in standard story mode. No problems with that. Basically, one thing you'll need to keep in mind is that you're not going to be able to play with new material and the old time capsule feature. If you want to access the new maps, if you want to access the new drops, animals, materials, you're going to have to create a new game. It's not the worst thing in the world, okay? Again, if you're not familiar with how to launch Time Capsule, subscribe to the channel. I'll probably be doing a video on that very quickly to give you a quick tutorial on how to launch in Time Capsule, because I personally am going to have to do that because I'm not quitting Crusade. And I'm not starting Crusade over. So Crusade will become a time capsule just so I can continue playing it, because I think that's fair and balanced. I will maybe... I don't even want to try opening Crusade in the new format because I'll wind up corrupting it or something. And I'm not giving up my 200 and... I think I crossed 225 days survival so far. And I'm not giving that record up so far. It's my personal best. This is what happens when, because of you guys, I play so paranoidly cautious. Finally, though, let's get to some news for story mode. Episode 5. They have not forgotten about it. They just wanted to get Tales from the Far Territory up and processing. Now that this is released, or at least will be on December 5, they'll be looking at releasing Episode 5 in 2023 is what they're saying. I expect that probably to be first half would be my guess. Maybe if we're lucky a little sooner. And that'll probably be one of the drops that they have for that, as they've cited the 8 to 10 week estimate time frame that they have for that. But considering that they've been operating on annual updates for quite a while, I'm perfectly fine. One thing to kind of brace yourself for, episode 5 is going to be the conclusion of the Mackenzie and Astra story. It does sound as if we'll meet Percival Mills, as well as sounds like there is a hardened facility that they were alluding in episode 4. But this will be the completion of their story. And earlier in this video, and even with this update, they're talking about introducing new stories. And it sounds like we're going to be able to meet some new characters. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tales from the Far Territory becomes the new breeding ground for new story modes, new characters. We can have a prequel as to how they fell into the Far Territory, or we can pick up their life as we meet them and go in a story mode that way. So I see this as a great branching out part that we can follow a lot of stories in a lot of different ways and play a lot of Long Dark for a long time. All of this then for... Yep, we're going to talk money briefly here. They're honestly not being too bad. It's going to be a one-time price of $20, which will get you the access for the entire year. $20 one-time for drops for the entire year for a game that we have been playing for years on probably what was $20 maybe a couple years back. I personally don't think that's too bad whatsoever. I've gotten into many early access games, paid a lot more than $20 for them, to have a game that was nowhere near as taken care of as The Long Dark has been. So I personally am not too squeamish at that. You make your own and individual determinations that way as well. There's going to be other bundle options, medium options. If you want to wait until the entirety has been rolled out at the end of next year, feel free. It will be slightly more expensive. It does sound like that will be the $30 option. That's your own personal preference, though. But that, my fellow survivors, is every scrap of news and theory I can put out to you today. If you want to know more, that's what playlists are for. And of course, if you want to know if I live to see tomorrow, leave a like and subscribe. I'm Commander Tom, and I will see you next time. Thanks.